Well, it's January 2017, and Doug, you know what that means. It means that we're just around the corner from RSA, the RSA Security Conference, the biggest security conference in the world. Talking to some of the management there, they expect 50,000 people this year, which is that's a lot of people for RSA. Yeah. And one of the topics I'm certainly anticipating is ransomware. I mean, after 2016, we're going to hear a lot about ransomware protection, ransomware variants. What are you expecting there?
Oh, no question. I mean, in 2016 we saw some cyber attacks of just massive scale, right? The Mirai DDoS attack on Dine's DNS service, billion Yahoo records that were compromised. But ransomware was just broad-based because it's transactional in nature. It sort of affected everybody. Sort of started in healthcare, and boy, it spread like wildfire. At RSA, of course, we're going to see a lot of ransomware-specific offerings that detect and prevent ransomware. A lot of those are going to be focused on, detecting the rapid encryption of files.
Right.
But in the cat and mouse game that is cybersecurity, the bad actors are evolving and moving quickly. And we've already seen some new variants of ransomware, not only changing how they behave in the endpoint, but also in back-end infrastructure.
Yeah, I mean, I anticipate, and we're starting to see blended threats. So ransomware that does extortion, ransomware that does encryption, ransomware that does DDoS. And that's my fear too, Doug, is that the ransomware protection we'll hear about is sort of rearview mirror ransomware protection. So protecting against what we saw in 2016, not necessarily 2017.
It's almost like we're going to have tiers of ransomware. There's going to be sort of the pedestrian ransomware from yesterday, and then the more advanced attacks for which the ransom will be higher.
And commodity attacks where it's a $50 ante or something like that, not as big.
Sure. So one of the techniques that's being employed to protect against ransomware and other types of new and unknown threats is artificial intelligence and machine learning. We're close to it, we understand it, but I think maybe many are sort of don't really understand the technique and how it works in itself and whether or not it is a silver bullet and whether or not it should be thought about in the context of a layered defense in depth approach. And I suspect at RSA we're going to see a lot of artificial intelligence / machine learning offerings.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's and it's what's a shame, Doug, is that this is a promising technology, but the marketing people get a hold of it and they communicate it out to the industry and everyone's confused.
Yeah.
And so I've looked at this quite a bit. It's a really promising technology, but it's promising in discrete use cases, in my view, because it's new. So we have to have the data samples, we have to build the models, we have to test the models. And what do we have data on? We have data on existing types of attacks and existing behaviors of kill chains. It's promising. I think it fits into, and we've written about the SOPA, Security Operations and Analytics Platform Architecture. It certainly fits into that kind of an architecture. But in my view, it's a layered approach. It's another type of defense, evolutionary defense, that supplements everything else you do.
Totally agree. I mean, the way I frame it up is, machine learning as a flavor of static analysis, predictive. Hey, based on attributes of binaries that are proven to be malicious, this new and unknown binary has a similar set of attributes, and therefore we're going to predict that it is also malicious.
Yes.
But you also have to analyze at runtime. So you also have to have behavioral analysis. You're really understanding how the new and unknown is interacting with the system.
That's right. And in terms of unsupervised machine learning, or as we say in Boston, unsupervised machine learning.
Like SOPA.
Like SOPA, yeah. We're not there yet. So we're not going to have machine or algorithms that find new data and learn on the fly. We may in the future. We don't have that today.
So great innovation, but as always, defense in depth.
Stick to defense in depth for now. It's tried and true. Works.
Absolutely.
Now, speaking of hype and speaking of topics at RSA, I think we'll get barraged by cloud security.
No question, another broad-based topic, especially cloud app security. Everybody's got concern about more data going north to the cloud and the cloud being a new attack vector for the introduction of new threats. And for me, what's interesting about the cloud security market is the rate at which it is evolving. I think we're going to see convergence of different types of cloud security. So cloud access security brokers evolving into cloud security platforms by expanding the scope of cloud services that they protect. So not only protecting against, securing data that's resident in cloud applications, but also securing data that's resident in infrastructure as a service, data that's sitting in things like S3 object stores, and protecting and securing the use of cloud APIs. And more workloads are going to the cloud, and being able to have workload-centric security. So fast-moving market, and there's a readiness gap, John, between the rate at which organizations are adopting the cloud and the readiness to secure that adoption. And that's why this market is moving so quickly.
Yeah, and a couple of observations on my part. One is it's really contributing to the scale of
Right.
the visibility, the data that you have to manage, the decisions you have to make in security. I mean, with more workloads going through heterogeneous clouds, that really does change the model. And then the other thing is we're seeing cloud security usurping functionality that used to be on-premise security, whether that's network security, whether that's something like identity and access management or DLP. And that has dynamics for users and for the industry.
It's functional aggregation that provides more efficiency in eliminating using multiple point tools. So it makes perfect sense as organizations are running in hybrid environments. They want to reduce their tool set.
Yeah.
But again, that tool set has to be cloud aware and cloud specific.
That's true.
And the other thing we're hearing around cloud, is there's securing in the cloud infrastructure, securing to the cloud applications, but also from the cloud in terms of security solutions that are delivering from the cloud, security as a service.
Yeah.
And talk about scale. I mean, you can auto scale and do analytics, and you can leverage tiered storage for retention periods. So there's a lot of goodness on cloud delivered security. And I think we'll hear more about that at RSA too.
Yeah, and my pet peeve is the security skills shortage. So what we're telling CISOs is look at your portfolio and figure out what you can outsource to an MSSP or cloud security provider. However, Doug, that has to integrate into this security architecture. So you have to have integration, it has to fit into some kind of middleware, it has to have APIs, and all that has to work together because you can't manage security in the cloud independently of what's happening on-premise or at connected partner systems or anything like that.
Absolutely. So if organizations are sort of retooling for this cloud generation, they really should be thinking about an architecture on how they better secure on-premise resources and the cloud and leverage analytics to do so.
Well, it looks like we have a lot to look forward to at RSA.
Yeah.
So look for us there and look for us talking about the show when we return.